We've got an exciting topic. We haven't covered this kind of content at all so far. We've got two special guests. Charlotte and Natalie are here from PomPom's Events and Marketing, and we're going to be talking about event planning with digital tools. So a lot of events are, have lots of different facets to them, and we want to make sure that we're organized. We might also get some questions, I'm sure, from you folks on what to do in the case that, your event is canceled, or if you need to move it online, and hopefully we can get maybe some ideas from these two experts. Now, if you're tuning with us on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, use the chat functions, the comment sections to drop your questions in for Natalie and Charlotte. We will field some throughout and most at the end of the session. So keep feeding them into those functions throughout the session. I'll be monitoring them and pulling them through to Zoom. If you're with us on Zoom, use the chat feature or the Q&A feature. We love to make these sessions work for you, so make sure that you get your questions answered by the experts. Now, a little bit of a reminder, we do have a comp running right now, and it's running till the 30th of November. You win like a tablet with like a keyboard, and it comes with a 12-month subscription to MYOB. You can register by logging into Digital Boost, referring out to get people registered, or signing up for the first time. So if you're one of those folks that join us on some of our social media platforms, but you're not registered to Digital Boost, make sure you register your business so that you get access to comps like this, and you get to look at all the bite-sized video content. And we have provider offers on the provider offers page, and there's some really sweet deals on there, so check it out. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Charlotte, for joining me today and enlightening us in the world of events, which is an area I obviously deal with quite a lot, but in probably a very different capacity. How are you this morning? Kia ora.
Morning. Yeah, good. It's great to be here.
Morning. Now, I'm going to let you guys drive and just educate us, and I will just make sure everything's running in the background, but I'm here for support in any way that you need.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna-Marie. It's lovely to be here. Morning, everybody. My name's Charlotte from PomPom Events and Marketing, and I'm one of the founders and current managing partners of PomPom, alongside my business partner, Natalie, who you'll hear from in a moment. So a little bit about me, I guess, to sort of introduce myself before we get started, so you know who you're talking to or who you're listening to this morning. So I'm from the UK originally, as you might be able to gather. Did my degree at Solent Uni in the UK, and came out with a 2-1 BA Honours in Media. And I spent 6 years in the UK, then working in the event space, mainly in exhibitions and conferences, and then decided to move to the sunny shores of New Zealand, where we've been for 9 years now. So it's pretty much home, I would say, really. And I've done another 7 years here in events. I've also done some marketing stints, a couple of years here and a couple of years in the UK, and I just find those two spaces just so complementary. And we will talk a little bit about both today, because they're kind of, you kind of can't do one without the other almost. But my passion does lie within live events, and obviously that's what we're going to be looking at today with a digital focus. But before we get kind of into the nitty gritty, I'll let Nats introduce herself too.
So kia ora, my name's Natalie Rutene, and on the other half of PomPom, as Charlotte mentioned. So yeah, I've been sort of dabbling in the live event space for many years. I actually have a background in hospitality and moved into sort of sales within the food industry, sort of sales and marketing, and found that events was a big part of our marketing suite, really, and the way that we were reaching customers, both in hospitality and in tourism. I moved into tourism, I guess, when it was at its peak a few years ago here in New Zealand. So events have always been a big part of the type of work I do. And it wasn't until meeting Charlotte and we joined forces sort of 4 years ago that it became kind of the main thing that I do. I'm an event manager now. I have an events business. So yeah, we're really passionate about this space, and the way we actually came about was we were working with a lot of not-for-profits at the time, and Charlotte and I joined forces and wanted to sort of help good people doing good things within the community and reach more people and allow them to have, great impact reaching their audiences. So that's kind of how PomPom came about and how Charlotte and I, came to work together, really. So that's a little bit of background on both of us, really. So I think what I'll do is I'll share my screen and we'll just run you through just some areas that we thought might be useful. Give me a second. All right, so, we've got a pretty tight-knit team. It's myself, Charlotte, and we have a marketing graphic design expert, Alex, that's part of our team now. So we're really blessed to have her on board as well. Like I said, a big driver for us was to support the NFP sector. How can you get in front of your audience? How can you reach and get that, that cut through in sometimes a really busy marketplace? And how can we use events? How can we create experiences to show people and use that as a real tool within our businesses and within charities? So, we just wanted to kind of lead you through a few items on how that looks maybe for your business. I'm just going to move my video window so I can click through. Here we go. Sorry, my slides are not clicking on my share.
Are you trying to go to the next slide?
Yeah, it's not letting me click through.
Try to go down to the bottom left-hand corner and see if it pops up there. Sometimes when it goes into this mode, the other corner.
This corner?
Yeah. Does anything pop up in that bottom corner where your hand's pretty close to it?
Not.
Right on the slide,
unusual.
On the green. Nothing.
It's really unusual.
Maybe try. You might try.
It's actually skipped to a weird place.
That's okay. I would just try unsharing and share again.
Okay. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry about this.
Don't be sorry. This helps us to realize that we're all human because there's nothing more frustrating, and we all empathize.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe if I take it out of full screen on my.
Okay.
Okay, I'm running into issues here. Okay.
Okay, just relax.
There we go, guys. I might just have to.
That's all right. Oh, because it seems like you're in a PDF.
Is it going to go now?
It's probably
I'm in the slide share of the PDF.
I see.
It's moving now, but it's moving out of order. It's really annoying. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Sorry about that. It just went completely out of order. All right. So back on track. So what we kind of wanted to share with you is, when we're talking to different businesses and charities, at times we get people say, I don't see how an event fits with my business. We deal with people that might be in construction, or maybe they're in retail, maybe they're a law firm. Whatever your business is, we believe that you actually can integrate events into your business to reach your target audience. And this is because everybody's objective is quite different. So, and events come in all different sort of shapes and sizes to meet those objectives. So sometimes it's just around understanding what you're trying to achieve. Like, what's your objective? How are you trying to reach people and why? And then what type of event might fit that objective and help you reach that sort of KPI that you might have around your audience. So, some of the things that we've used events for within businesses or charities in the past have been things like, launch events, for a new business, a new product. Maybe you've had a complete rebrand. Like we've done some fabulous rebranding events to kind of show people's customers that people are forward thinking and moving into the future and what they've got going on. Product and service launches, online events, webinars, Zoom like we're on today, training days, upskilling. What knowledge, do you have within your business that you want to pass on to your customers, and how can you deliver that message? Is it an online workshop? Is it a physical workshop? Is it a seminar? You can do, conferences or speaker events, like a little morning tea and have some speakers in and reach your target audience and educate them. Other things that we've sort of done is trade shows, or we've done like gala dinners and charity balls, and this is usually used to raise awareness for not-for-profits or to raise vital funds for these charities. So there's lots of different types of events that will meet your objective for your business. So I feel like people need to kind of get over that barrier of, oh, event's not right for me, and look at what they need and really look at it as part of their marketing plan. What can I physically do to deliver my message to my audience? And we pulled a few stats too, kind of having a look into it to sort of see how effective marketeers thought events were as part of a business plan. So, 85% of a BizAboo survey agreed that in-person events were essential to a company's success. And an overwhelming 80% of event organisers have said they've been able to reach an even wider audience using like a virtual or a hybrid event for their physical event. So there's lots of different shapes and sizes, and we do encourage you to look at that, look at your objective and look at what could fit for you and work for you. So I think that's kind of your why, and now we're going to move into diving a little bit further into what that looks like online, fully online, hybrid, or like a live event, and how that kind of the tech stack behind that looks. And Charlotte's going to deliver that.
Awesome. Thank you, Nats. I'll keep my video off so we can look at the pretty slides that Nats has worked so hard to get up for us this morning. Cool. So basically, I'm going to look at the way that events can be delivered using tech. So the part that tech plays, I guess, in events, and obviously, particularly in this kind of COVID landscape that we're all kind of working our way through, this has changed and evolved at an ever increasing speed. So the first type of events, obviously, where you can use tech, and probably the most obvious, are the fully online and hybrid events. So I'll start with those. So we've obviously seen a huge increase in events moving online. We've actually got a big one that we're delivering tomorrow. So yeah, there's a lot of these kind of fully online events. And in fact, even back last year, these online events were up by 1,000% since COVID, and 93% of organisers were planning to invest in more virtual events moving forward. So there's definitely a lot of movement in this space. So virtual conferences and events, they've opened up the door for reaching wide audience. They've showed us how resilient the industry is, and they've really kept events going during certain points of the pandemic. And when I say online events, I'm referring to those kind of full-scale conferences or exhibitions, the kind of ones where you might see functionality like virtual lobbies or exhibitor halls, networking spaces, all of that housed on a kind of online platform. It's kind of incredible, really. Because of how technical it can get, we would definitely recommend using specialists in this space. And I know that, other event professionals would agree with that. I think there was a recent survey that sort of said 62.6% or something like that. Event workers would recommend using production services to produce these kinds of events. When you're looking into these kind of events, there are a couple of key things that you'll be looking at from a tech perspective. So where you want your stream to be viewed by your audience. Examples of that could be that you're going to use your existing website, or you might be building a microsite, you might be sharing it via a link. So there's a number of things, number of options, but where you want it to be streamed and viewed is one of the things that you're going to have to consider from a technical aspect. And the other thing is which platform you're going to use for the event. So these are platforms that are specifically designed to deliver these types of online events. and they work really hard to ensure that they're still engaging. Because obviously the tricky thing about an online event is there's no captive audience. Everyone's not sat in a room giving you their undivided attention. They're potentially tuning in from home, surrounded by a multitude of daily distractions, kids, dogs, pets, whatever. So, you know, you've got to work harder to engage your audience. So these platforms can really vary in terms of customer experience and features, and obviously the price of them is reflected there. So obviously I mentioned briefly some of the potential features that might include, like the meeting halls or the lobby spaces or the networking spaces. And these platforms can range from delivering like 2D style events, On Air is an example of a platform that does that, through to more immersive 3D experiences like BFairs, which feels like more like a virtual conference space. So both of these things will usually be identified by conversations with your production company that you're working with. So you wouldn't be expected to be making these choices on your own. And it will really depend on what your event is about, what kind of features you need, what kind of interactivity you want, and obviously, like always, what the budget is. Once you've identified that, you can, move into more in-depth discussions, around if you're going to have presenters remoting in, if it's going to be pre-recorded, if it's going to be live, you can use the studio, all those kind of conversations. And obviously hybrid events fall nicely off those online events. They're kind of the middle ground. I'm sure everyone's kind of aware of what a hybrid is now, but it's really a physical event that's delivered with often a decreased number of guests, since these COVID numbers have obviously been a thing in our restrictions. And this can often mean that those who need to be in the room can be, whilst opening up to a much wider audience. So actually, prior to COVID, this type of event was in existence already, and it was really used to attract a wider audience. So they could deliver their event physically and then obviously stream it out to a much wider, perhaps international audience. So it was still being used, and it was still in play. It wasn't born from COVID, but definitely COVID has contributed to its growth. Like I was saying, we've got these restrictions around numbers in the room, and these kind of events mean that you can deliver your live event with your restricted number, but still kind of allow it to be open to a lot of other people via your streaming. So with hybrid events, as with the fully online events, you need to know where you want it to be viewed, and then you need to work out what platform you'll use to stream it. So that could be like a Zoom or a live stream or a Vimeo. So there's lots of options again there. And obviously in that online space, you also have those kind of smaller online events like your Zoom meetups or your webinars or your Facebook live events. These can be live or pre-recorded. They work perfect when there's one speaker at a time, and they've made hosting online events really accessible to everyone, simple and easy to use, often free or for a really low monthly charge. So increasing the level of video content available and helping us all to reach wider audiences. And often you'll see those kind of events used for Q&As like this, or speaker series, how-to content, that type of stuff. Okay, so into the live events. Live events aren't dead. So 96% of us in the profession believe that virtual events aren't going to replace the live events. We believe they're here to stay. But even fully live events, which are in person, obviously, still require a really high degree of tech in today's day and age, kind of like everything. Obviously, most events are going to have staging, lighting and sound, screens. Again, you're probably going to have your AV specialists being brought in to manage a lot of this. I know a lot of event professionals prefer to have a preferred supplier in this space, whether it's for their online or their live. Often, one company can kind of manage all, and you can develop a real relationship. I know that we do that. We tend to use VidCom. And that's worked really well for us because they know us and they know the way that we work, and vice versa. There are so many tech options within live events that for me to try and list them all off during this Q&A would just be almost impossible. But you know, you've got things that you can look at, like digital check-in apps for when you've got people registering. You've got digital centerpieces, which you can use like technology to bring your program and things to life on the tables. You can use things like digital photo walls or photo booths. You know, there's a whole heap of tech now around that kind of live auction space, like digital live auctions, interactive auctions, loads of activation options as well. And you can obviously use virtual or augmented reality and AI. There's so much available in that space. And the great thing, you know, about the tech is that it doesn't just kind of have positive impact on the way the event looks and feels. But the other great thing about it is that usually it creates efficiencies. So it's saving you time as well as kind of, you know, adding to the experience of the event, which is awesome. Gosh, I feel like I'm speed talking for you all, sorry. So once we get down into the next level, you know, what does tech look like for PomPom? So we use a lot of tech, like you can imagine, and a lot of these, to be honest, are probably going to be familiar with you from your usual business as usual. And we've kind of adapted them or used them as part of what we do. So we've kind of broken this down into sections. So the first section we've got is planning and the tools that we use for planning. And you'll see that Nats has popped a lot of these up on the screen. And a lot of them, like I said, you'll be using for your business as usual. So Asana is the one that we use for our project management. You know, we only actually use the free version and we're able to work really collaboratively on it. You know, similar to Monday or Trello or a lot of those kind of things. It's a great way for us to work as a team. Events is all about the details. So with Asana, we can create tasks and then subtasks and really kind of drill down and share documents with each other. And yeah, we find that, like I said, events is all about the details, and Asana helps us to track the progress on each of those little details and share it with each other. We're real Google fans, so we use Google everything, Gmail, the Drive, the Docs, the calendar. We really like the fact that we can work in live time on documents collaboratively together as a team, which we'll often do, particularly if we're working on, you know, like a theming piece or scoping out an event initially. So yeah, we use that one, but obviously there's Dropbox or SharePoint or other kind of options for that. We use Pinterest for scoping out our event mood boards. So a lot of people obviously will probably use Pinterest on a personal level. We just find it's a really good tool for kind of scoping out themes for events. So it's a great place to find inspiration, and it helps you create, you know, mood boards. So you've got some visuals that you can share with your client. We'll often create 2 or 3 options for them using Pinterest and share it with them. It just means as well that we're not investing too much time in a theme or a concept that maybe isn't going to be the one that's selected. So we're kind of creating a quick mood board as a team, sharing it with the client, and then we can delve into more detail on the one that they select. So it's a great way of kind of, yeah, giving people who are visual as well, like a real something tangible that they can look at. We use Xero, which obviously a lot of people will be across. And the great thing that I love about Xero in terms of events is obviously the budget is so important always, whether you're working for not-for-profits or corporates. Everyone wants to know how you're tracking on the budget when you're doing your monthly updates or, you know, your weekly meetings, whatever it might be. So we like to load the budgets into Xero so that we can track it really carefully and see how the actuals are progressing against budget and have a really clear understanding so that we can pull reports and things easily. And we also love the expenses app that you can pop on your phone, because it just means, again, with events, you're often out and about buying things on the fly, or there's a last minute change that you've got to adapt to and some extra purchasing. And it means that we can quickly upload our spending on the go, which also saves us some time. So that's been great for us. So these last 2 ones are ones that may not be as familiar for some of you. So Kudos would be a great platform if you're looking at running any type of awards events. So we're involved in a couple of different awards events, a youth awards, we run some business awards, and we have found Kudos great. So they're a New Zealand-based business, so there's amazing customer support, they're super cost effective, they're always sort of building and innovating with new functionality, and if they don't do what you need them to do, they're pretty good at like coming to the party and building it for you. So they're just really easy to work with. You can create portals on here for your entrants so that they can enter online, and then your judges are able to log in and judge online as well. You can pull feedback reports from here. So it's a great platform if you're delivering an awards event. School interviews probably seems like a bit of an odd one. If you've got children, you'll be familiar with this platform. So most schools or colleges in New Zealand use this platform to schedule their student-led conferences. However, we've diversified it, and we use it a lot for events where appointment bookings are required. So we've used it for events where people need to book appointments with businesses, for example. It's really good. There's lots of automated functionality in there, like reminders and communication options. Streamlines the process of multiple bookings with multiple individuals. Super, super cost effective. Again, really good customer support. We just find that, you know, for us, the customer support thing, I keep maybe mentioning that, but often in events, you know, they're hard deadlines and things can change at the last minute, and you need to know that if there's a tech issue, you can get hold of someone quickly. So a reason why, where we can, we do tend to use platforms that have got really good customer support and are even New Zealand based if we can. So that's our planning tech stack, I guess, for PomPom. So some of the live event tools that we use, as I kind of alluded to earlier, there's just so many in this space that we've just picked a couple so as not to kind of chew your ear off all morning. But yeah, basically, obviously there's in the online and the hybrid, there's the things that I briefly spoke about earlier in terms of, you know, where you're going to stream to, the platform you're going to use, that type of thing. But in the live event space as well, there's also, you know, some great tech options. Quick Picks is one that we came across at this year's meetings. So that's a trade show for the events industry. We went to the Auckland one earlier this year, which was great. You always find a bit of new inspiration there, and this was one of them. So they've got some great creative tech all around photos that you can use at your event. So every type of photo booth that you can literally imagine. They can do slow-mo, GIFs, VR, green screens, mosaic photo walls. They can be digital ones, or they can get it printed out like old school. Yeah, they've got heaps of kind of options to engage with your audience and kind of get them a bit engaged with the event and make it a bit more interactive. So lots of options. They're a great one to look into to bring your event to life with images. Humanitix is a massive love of ours at the moment. They're a ticketing platform, but they're a ticketing platform with a social conscience. So they've got all the great functionality you would expect to find from any of the big well-known players. But they also have this social conscience. So basically, 100% of their profits fund education for children. So it's a really incredible business model. They've got great customer support, really responsive. It's all online. There's also an app that you can put on your phone for when you get to the event and you're trying to manage the check-ins. They've got seating maps, automated emails. They can integrate with various different payment gateways, send invoices for you. It's just really awesome. And again, they're one of those companies that are still like relatively new to the marketplace. So a little bit like a Kudos, they're always really open to building functionality if there's something that you flagged that they don't do that you need them to do. Yeah, so they're awesome. Table Hub, these guys do digital centerpieces. So this can be really great. You can have your program on these. They're kind of like little square boxes that you can have on your tables, so you can push out any content that you want on here, anything visual. It's awesome, and you can even put your table numbers on it, so that if you're doing some sort of gala or ball or dinner, you can get rid of your old school sticky up table numbers. And obviously, putting things like your program on there saves the trees, right? So yeah, it's got like a number of different bonuses. So there's a lot of tech options available for running your live events. And we love how it's always kind of evolving and developing and stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of those ones. I'm going to stop, take a breath, hand it back over to Nat, and she'll go through what we use in the marketing space for our events.
Kia ora, I'm back. Thanks, Charlotte. So I know there has been quite a few marketing-based Digital Boost webinars. So I'm not going to go too in depth, but we did think it was useful to kind of talk about some of the tech tools that we think are really relevant in that event space. So earlier on, we mentioned particularly if you're doing a hybrid or a live event, that often you will build like the event its own website or a microsite or a page into your website. So we just wanted to do a little shout out to Rocketspark actually, and I think they may have actually spoken on here before. Again, we find their customer service amazing, New Zealand-based business, so easy to use, really cost effective if you are wanting to build a little microsite. And it's just a great tool to have so that you can put everything in one place and lead your customers to that one point of truth that holds all the information that's needed for your event, as well as link off to your ticketing sites and bits and pieces like that. So big shout out to Rocketspark. I am going to touch on social media, but again, there are some digital boosts out there that are, specifically in this area. So I wanted to make sure the information was actually quite specific to events. So, obviously when we are marketing an event, we will use all the different channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. We pick the ones that are relevant for the target audience that we're trying to reach and tap into it. But I did want to talk about Facebook in particular, because Facebook gives you the option to set up an actual event. And this is a really great tool. But what we have found personally is it does require quite an engaged audience of your main page to get traction using Facebook events. Or you do need to put quite a bit of dollar spend behind that event to really push it into people's news feeds. The great thing about this, if you have either of those things, the budget to push it into people's feeds or an engaged audience, is that when people say they're interested in coming or they mark that they're going, it shows into their networks. So you get further reach into an audience that you might not already be in front of by tapping into Facebook events. The other way that we use Facebook a little bit differently for events is we push it out to community pages. So, a lot of you might do this with your business as usual marketing, but it's quite a good one to sort of tap into any local, event pages or, bulletins for your region pages and things like that. Or if it's industry specific, you might have joined a couple of networking groups within Facebook, and it's a really good way to push it out and get in front of a bigger audience there. So that's probably the main thing with the social media. The other thing that works quite well is spot prizes. So doing sharing or tagging prizes to get people to kind of share your posts and share your event out further. You can give away tickets to your event, or maybe it's product if it's a product launch or whatever it might be, but it's a great way to get that in front of a new audience with very low investment, really. The other thing we use is Hootsuite. I won't go into too much detail here, but it means you create the content once. Hootsuite can link up all your different social accounts, and then you create the content once and it pushes it out across multiple sites, meaning, you're saving time really, doesn't it? Another one that's a little bit more niche is Gopoolit. So it's quite similar to Facebook and Instagram. It's heavily image-based, but what it does is it enables users to post photos and videos onto the worldwide sort of news feed. And unlike other social platforms, Gopoolit focuses on supporting charities via donations. So a really small percentage, it's like 2 to 20 cents per post goes to the not-for-profits involved. So it's a great one if you are a charity and you are watching this. Go and check it out. It's a pretty cool tool to tap into there. We do a lot of video with our events to promote it. So we have FiLMic Pro on our phones, and we tend to use this. It's a great, super handy app. You can do your editing, you can load it up to Google Drive. it's a great tool to have sort of on your phone so that you can take sort of high quality video on the fly, really. And then the other thing is our email. So we still, like with events, we find if you've got a database, we get the best uptake through our EDMs, through MailChimp or Mailerlite, Active campaigns to an engaged audience. You know, funnel software also, if you can set up those automations, can be really useful for that follow-up and make sure that you don't like sort of miss a beat in that area. But for conversions, for ticket sales to events, the good old email into the inbox still we find really works. So that's probably a little bit about the marketing space. The other thing that we did want to touch base on is we're really big on the debrief. With all our events, we do a really thorough debrief with any stakeholders that have been involved, any contractors that we've used, and we also like to get feedback from our audience. And this is because it helps us shape our future events for our clients, whether we're running the same event the following year or whether it's just that we want that feedback so that when we're thinking of new ideas for fresh events, we know what's worked and what's worked really well. So we do recommend, if you are doing an event, you ask those hard questions, be prepared for the good and the bad feedback, and take it all constructively and as an opportunity to learn and grow and develop your offerings further. So just really quickly, I mean, you've all would have probably used SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, or Jotform. We find this is the quickest way to get out to a large audience, and you can often use the free version. Make sure you include like free-form text boxes because multiple choice is great and people can fill it out quick, but often it's in the free-form text that they really give you some good ideas or feedback on quite specific items that they've kind of picked up on. The other thing that we do is we will do like little stakeholder meetings or workshop events where we pull people into a room, another sort of live event in itself, or we'll jump on a Zoom call, or we'll flick an email with targeted questions that they can kind of flick back to us and capture feedback that way. So there's lots of ways to capture that feedback, and we do really encourage people that we sort of speak to be prepared to take that feedback on and utilize it to your advantage, really. So that's pretty much what we kind of wanted to cover off today. The way we engage our audience and reach them with events, it's really changed in the last 18 months. People are wanting to connect with others, whether that be physically or when not possible, online. So look at us all here today. We've all, logged on to share ideas, resources and knowledge and connect with each other. So we do believe that this event space, whether it be live, hybrid, fully online, it's a growing industry, it's a growing space. It's a great way for our communities to connect, really. So we're here to stay, and it may have been a bit of a challenging couple of years for events, but I think there's been a lot of opportunity as well, and Charlotte and I personally think it's a very exciting space to be in, with the technology that's really ramped up, particularly in the last couple of years, to meet the demands of people working from home and remotely. It's all at our fingertips, really. So I think maybe we'll pass back over and see if anybody's got any questions they want answered. Or
hello, I'm going to jump in here too. Hopefully, where's my video? I keep clicking too quickly on my video. This has been a fabulous presentation. So many useful tools. I've dropped links for all the tools for you guys in the chat feature. So if you want to access or have a look at any of those tools, just click on the links and you can use them on Facebook and the other platforms. I've either listed in the description or Facebook, LinkedIn. I've kind of tagged the company so that you can find their website that way. So take advantage. Some of these platforms I'm familiar with, and some of them I'm not. So this has been really fantastic to find out some more tools that we can use in the event space that can make the events interesting or just help us to be a little bit more organized along the way. We do have a question. Maybe it's been answered because you've kind of talked about it, but it's a bit specific. So let's do it. Dean has asked, it would be great to have some suggestions from online Christmas parties because of the lockdown in Auckland. Offices are commonly staying closed until January in some cases. Great question, Dean.
I love this question because I love Christmas and I love events. So it's a great combo. But a couple of things came to mind for me. Nats and I have recently, like I mentioned, we're delivering a big awards event fully online tomorrow night. And one of the things that we did to try and engage people was we sent out viewing packs out to their individual houses. And the great thing about these packs is that you can support local. So you can be using local produce and local, drinks and chockies and that type of thing. Obviously, in your case, it would be Christmas themed stuff potentially as well. But lovely little like packages that arrive at their house before the event so that you've all got, some great stuff to kind of enjoy during the night together. We also have done some things for the event where there's going to be some engaging kind of competitions. So like, you could do a Christmas jumper competition, best dress, something like that, and get people to kind of, come with those and announce a winner and that kind of stuff. You can obviously on Zoom or Skype, you can potentially theme your background. So you could do kind of Christmassy type backgrounds. And even your Secret Santa, even your old school traditional Secret Santa can still be done by the good old New Zealand Post. So you could, arrange a kind of draw and get that sent out. There's heaps of cool apps, Secret Santa type apps where you can select people, put all your names in and it kind of random picks and you will get emails saying, who's got who kind of thing. And people can even add like lists if they want to add like things that they want. But so I think that it's probably about thinking of ways to kind of bring the event to life again. So whether that's by, delivering physical stuff, running, comps or, I just think there's like those little touches often can go a long way.
So there's a question here from Haley. It says, what virtual platform do you use and recommend? So maybe, maybe Haley, are you talking about like Zoom or like, when you talk about virtual platform, what are you referring to? Maybe just drop us a little bit more information in there and we can answer that question for you. One of the things that I've used in the past, just because I used to be a teacher and I just, it popped into my head now, if you wanted to run something with your team, you could run like a Kahoot kind of little game. Are you familiar with that? I mean, it depends on the environment that you're running with, but it's a totally online platform. You can preset questions. There can be videos in there. We often use it for trivia or things like that. And folks can answer those throughout and it tallies everybody up and everybody knows who's kind of the winner. You do it on your phone.
Yeah, that's cool.
There you go. There's my 2 cents. That's all I've got.
That's a great idea. And they often have themed ones. So there probably is a Christmas one already on there, ready to go.
Yeah.
So it says, yes, like Zoom, or have you used any other platforms for virtual events and awards? Thanks for the clarification, Haley. Appreciate it.
Do you want to take that one, Nats?
Yeah. So like Charlotte was mentioning the one that we're delivering this week. So smaller events we've run via platforms like Zoom and like meetups, but something that's almost like a production, like the event we're running this week is a live event production. So we're trying to create a run sheet and many different speakers that will come in and create this event. So it's almost like producing a movie actually, and it's run through a platform called Livestream. And we do use an AV company to support with that.
And what does that stand for? Just so that we know, just in case we're not familiar with that acronym.
Livestream.
Oh, AV.
Oh, audiovisual. Yeah,
Thank you.
audiovisual company. So we use VidCom. I think Charlotte did a little shout out to them. So we use them in the live event space, but they've become real experts in this online event delivery. They've got a base in Auckland and they've got a base in Wellington. And the event we're running on Friday, they're actually running out of the Auckland studio, and our MC is going to be in there. They'll all be social distanced. Yeah. We'll be remote, and then it'll stream out across. Well, anyone can tap in worldwide. I mean, and that's the beauty of it too, because usually this event we would deliver live. We'd have probably sort of 400 or 500 people in the room. There is the opportunity to do a hybrid. But this one, it can be shared to Sweden. People can be watching from, the comfort of their home in England or wherever they want. So we're going to find it quite interesting. It's the first time this one's gone online to see what that reach is actually and where people dial in from and if people have, really shared it out further. So, really interesting.
Closed with live stream. I just want to because I use Restream. So Restream is what we use here. So we're housed on Zoom, but we use Restream and that pushes it out onto Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube so that folks can tune in. With live stream, does that mean that it's like a closed event so that like it's not on any social media channels? It's actually just, how is it housed? Like it's
a URL. They basically share a URL and then you can plug that into wherever you want to share it to. So for us, we're embedding it onto our website. We'll embed that URL onto our website so people still come to that microsite. It's all in one place and it's embedded there. But we've also shared that same URL out on all of our marketing channels and within all of our emails to all our stakeholders. So it's not a closed event, but you do have to share it. Like people have to have the link to get into it or come to your website where it's embedded. So generally you embed it somewhere.
So it's housed on live stream is basically where it's housed. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And so then everyone kind of goes to the live stream site with that specific URL and that's how that event happens.
But you don't know you're on live stream because they provide that embed link. It feels like you're just with the people that are creating the event. So it's
I'm interested
sort of really
to
on
check
brand.
That out.
Yeah, it's great. But I mean, it is quite a complex tool to use. So unless you're really wanting to upskill in that space, you get the experts in because as we've seen earlier with my PowerPoint, things can go wrong. So you want somebody behind the scenes delivering that content. So, and this, this particular one, I was thinking with the Christmas party, a girlfriend of mine just turned 40 in Melbourne and she's from New Zealand. And so a group of us streamed together, or we all provided like little video clips of us, just a little birthday message. And then her hubby clipped them together and then we all got together on Zoom and watched this video of all these beautiful messages. And you could do something like that for Christmas. Everybody kind of puts their Christmas video together, you watch it together, you have a glass of bubbles, and there's lots of ways you can kind of connect, I think, now too. But
I'm trying to think of, I'm just jumping on, there's a website, it's totally free that you can use to do that with. It's like Camera Click or something click. I'm trying to remember.
That's quite cool. So then people all go to the same link and create.
Well, this one, it just allows you to throw them all together. So, a lot of times if you use iMovie or something like that, the file is so large and it's really hard to share it out. And so there's a website, something click. I'm trying to remember it. I've used it in the past, and you can add music and you can do heaps of stuff with it. It's really intuitive, super easy to use. If you want to do something like that, of that nature, of piecing together videos for content. I'll have a look for it and
cool.
and see if I can't remember what it was, or maybe it's Clip. Clipchamp, that's it. Ha ha ha.
Clipchamp, did you say?
Clipchamp. Champ is
Ah,
in like super, you're a great guy, kind of, you're champ, kind of thing. I don't know how else to say. Yeah, Clip Champ. It's in the chat. You can use that. That's
cool.
it's a really easy site to use to pull videos in if you wanted to make something like that. And I will say, I know some folks over, they're not in the New Zealand, but there might be something along these lines for a Christmas party. They do these virtual events where they basically, everybody comes in via Zoom, but then you have this app that you have to download, and they do this great escape adventure, and you're on Teams and you have your phone and your team has your phone, and you get put in these breakout rooms, and then you go to your specific link for your group, and it takes you to like a room on the app, and it highlights like objects in the room, and you all have to work together to solve these puzzles. Until you solve the puzzle, you can't go to the next room,
Like a
so
virtual escape room. That's
virtual
clever.
escape room, and to get out and stuff. I was looking at that. Yeah, it's quite cool. It might be a good option for if you're trying to do a Christmas party for your work. Like, this is a little bit different, where this is an event where we're like celebrating things, or perhaps things like that. But I'm just throwing that out there for Dean, because he was talking about Christmas parties and stuff.
I think we're all looking forward to Christmas.
I am. I'm telling you what, I am indeed. Look, this has been an absolutely fabulous session. I want to share it out in the newsletter as well, because it's just so good. I don't want anyone to miss out. I'm just checking the other channels. That's why I look weird, like I'm not looking at you. So I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's questions on the other platforms, because I can see them watching. And it looks like we're all good. And that's probably because you did such a good job. So thank you so much for your time that you put in today, and making a contribution to Digital Boost with your time and your expertise. We really appreciate it. You guys are experts in this space, and it's a space that has been really affected, but I think also a lot of resilience has come out of it, like with folks like yourself, just really adapting as you go. And it's just remarkable. So thank you for making the world still a fun place to be in, because that's what events are, right? Like that's what, brings us all together, and it's such a beautiful industry to be in. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having us.
It's our pleasure. Yeah, lots of thank yous coming through on the other channels. Other tutors are out. Yeah, good to hear. Definitely. You're very welcome. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow if you're tuning in. Ka kite.